I knew when I started talking with Lizzie Clachan, the set designer, I knew that I wanted to have the audience on two sides, and I knew that I wanted it to be a box with glass walls where the floor changed. And I knew that I wanted essentially 4 acts, 4 seasons. You know, the fertility of the world being reflected in her confrontation with the endless movement in the cycle of the seasons, and her inability to cycle was just something that I knew that I was going to want to do, even though I hadn't written a play yet. I'm very interested in the magic of theatre. There's this kind of wonderful thing that happens when you watch something impossible happen in front of you that just far outstrips anything that you can do in cinema. Like, cinema has to go to such degrees of fantasy to make people genuinely go, whoa. Whereas in theatre, you can just have a human being disappear and another human being appear a second later and just go, how on earth did that happen? And it's got something to do with presence. It's got something to do, and that's why theatre is the place where you can have your heart broken far more than in any other art form, because you were there witnessing it. How do you make an audience all feel like they're reflecting on that issue very personally for themselves? And that isn't to make it larger or reach out to the audience. It's to do the opposite. It's to invite the audience, almost force the audience to lean forwards, to be sucked into a figure on a stage, and the stage being enveloped by her issues and her traumas. And not just that, but also knowing that they're doing that with other people, which is of course why it's so important to have the sense of the other audience, the society around us. Reflecting on, why have we let femininity come to this point of crisis? And what is our responsibility for reflecting on that? And you can't separate. You can't go, oh, that was a chick's film or a guy's film, because you can see that the guy and the girl and the other guy and that other woman and that person, they're all reflecting on it simultaneously, and they're all hearing the same story, and they can't deny it because they're right in front of you. And you can't pretend you didn't have the experience that you had, because I witnessed you having it. And that's why it's important to have the audience on the other side, because we have to be socially responsible. We can't sit in the dark and pretend, and then wipe away the tears and then walk away and pretend that we weren't moved by it or didn't feel guilt or anger, whatever, because I saw you reacting. I know what you felt. And that makes me reflect on what I feel. The set design, the way it's all put together, the kind of stories that I tell, the actors that I choose to work with, the way that I encourage them to perform is all a way of trying to say, see, you would not have had this experience at any other time in your life. And you won't be able to get it from any other art form. And you have to be there. And I think that's what I guess I would encourage anyone who is contemplating maybe coming and seeing the show and thinks that theatre is something that they can't quite connect to or that they don't feel is their universe. I would throw down the gauntlet of saying, give this one a shot.